everyone. I decided to come on here. It is Tuesday, February 21st. I'm recording this at noon exactly. So for all you astrological people out there, and I am in, the state of Oklahoma. Just, if I ever say where I am, just basically consider me in the dead stamp middle of that state, or region or town or whatever, just to give you, because you actually need location for astrology too. So, okay. I don't know how long I have to do this today. I'm going to knock out as many videos as I possibly can. So that's why I'm coming on here all plain Jane, no makeup or anything on. That's why my face is kind of oily, because I just put lotion on it and whatnot. And, I'm in my everyday top and jewelry and everything. I'm not even, I didn't even really fix up the background. So I want to knock out a couple of videos today. One is confirmation bias. One is spiritual DNA. One is, I can't even remember, but I have a whole lot of stuff going on right now. So we will see, because I have a dryer that needs to be returned. I have a dishwasher that needs to be returned, and they're all just crap. And our dishwasher flunked out on us. Our dryer flunked out on us. The kitchen faucet flunked out on us. The dustbuster flunked out on. Things are not going well. Things are not going well. And the new appliances that we got are not working. So now we're in the process of having to return them. I have to be intimately involved in that. I'm not even going to get into it further than that, because this video is about something that I wanted to address, and it's very important, and it is confirmation bias. And so what is confirmation bias? By the way, I am recording this on my little old Samsung, like A51 smartphone. I hope that you can hear me. I hope that you can see me. I hope that you can hear me well enough. Just take this as a podcast. This is a talking head. I tried to fix up the background as much as possible, but this is going to be a talking head video. So I hope to God that you can hear me. I'm speaking as loud as I dare at the moment, and I hope that I won't be interrupted. But if I am interrupted, I just give you the reasons why. We're having to return appliances, and stuff is melting down, and it's not working out when we're trying to fix it. So there you go. So if I get interrupted, that's why. So I'm going to try to hurry up and knock out this video really, really fast. Now, okay. So just really fast, confirmation bias. If you don't know what confirmation bias is, the real fast, short, slipshod definition of it, not really slipshod because it is accurate and it is the truth. Dictionary says, confirmation bias, the tendency to interpret new evidence as confirmation of one's existing beliefs or theories. So everybody has confirmation bias. They have confirmation bias. If you're a Republican, you have confirmation bias. If you're a Democrat, you have confirmation bias. If you are for foreigners, you have confirmation bias. If you're against foreigners, you have confirmation bias. So I just want to make it very clear that everybody has confirmation bias. A lot of things, if someone sees the world from a very GOP, conservative, Republican perspective, then everything in their world will confirm that their way of looking at the world is correct. If a person has a very liberal, progressive, democratic way of looking at the world and seeing everything, then everything that they encounter will prove their beliefs and their ideas correct. You cannot rip someone away from this confirmation bias. Another place where I found confirmation bias actually comes into play is when someone buys something. When someone buys something, when they spend money on it, people are more inclined, and this is true right now, I'm not, because I'm Asperger's, I'm just wired differently. But for the majority of the population that is not Asperger's and doesn't have these, they're not made up differently than the rest of the population, you're going to have confirmation bias. You just do. And one of the places that confirmation bias comes into play is when you buy something new. People who buy something new, they automatically see that item as a good thing, and they will see it as better than what they let go of. They will see it as, they will have confirmation bias towards the item that they just bought. And it is possible to wipe that away and ruin it. And there are outliers like me that don't seem to be confirmation biased simply because you're just wired differently. So, but confirmation bias is real. And if you buy something, are going to be more inclined to think that that item is good and that you maybe save money buying it if you're into saving money. Or there are rich people who are more bent on spending more money and they think that they're very proud of themselves because they spent more money on this item and therefore it's better simply because they spent more money on it. I had incidents with people who were like that too. There's the majority of the people who are not 1%, they're not going to be thinking like that. They're going to think that they saved themselves money and that they got themselves a real good deal. That's how their confirmation bias is going to back up them spending money on said item. And they're not going to see it as bad, defaulty. They're not going to see it as something that is, ugly, broken in any way, which is rather interesting. So there you go. But so there are 3 types of confirmation bias, and supposedly. So I'm getting this off simplypsychology.org now. So confirmation bias and how it works. And I'm just going to read directly from the website, and then I'll go on to the message of this video. And I'm sorry if this video goes long. I'm sorry if it goes into, 20, 30 minutes. I'm trying to keep it short. So take-home messages from simplypsychology.org. Confirmation bias is the tendency of people to favor information that confirms their existing beliefs or hypotheses. Okay, that's point number 1. Point number 2, confirmation bias happens when a person gives more weight to evidence that confirms their beliefs and undervalues evidence that could disprove it. You can see this very clearly in people who are Republican, people who are Democrat, people who are against foreigners or for foreigners. That's very, very clear. Confirmation bias is very people. Point number 3, people display this bias when they gather or recall information selectively or when they interpret it in a biased way. Everybody interprets information in a biased way. It's just, that is the human condition. That is the way it is. Point number 4, the effect is stronger for emotionally charged issues, such as politics, and for deeply entrenched beliefs, such as politics. There you go. Now, I'm using politics as an example because it's something that is very emotionally charged and it gets people to instantly realize what I am talking about. The buying new items thing is also emotionally charged, even for the extremely rich who prefer to spend more money on something. And there are people who are just under that, who prefer to spend more money on something because they think that they're getting a better product. In the end, they're not. They're actually not. They could actually, getting a better product doesn't necessarily always depend on the price. But that is another area that is emotionally charged and that does fall into the confirmation bias hole, pit, hell, whatever you want to call it. I call it hell, because the entire world seems to be confirmation biased. And confirmation bias spreads everywhere. Now, the point of this video, confirmation bias. Scientists and science itself, it got stuff right and it got stuff wrong. Now, where confirmation bias falls into the science argument, and I realize this, is that science came up with the idea and the belief of confirmation bias. Now, they were throwing rocks while living in a glass house. And this is the point I want to make. They got confirmation bias correct. Confirmation bias is true. And you can see its truth in politics. Unless you can get yourself or your dyed-in-the-wool GOP relative to turn completely liberal and progressive instantly, overnight, confirmation bias, you can see, is the truth, and it is correct. It is the truth. Confirmation bias is real. It exists. But science likes to apply confirmation bias to things outside of itself. If you are more inclined to not believe in spiritualism, if you're more inclined to not believe in, Jesus Christ, Allah, Muhammad, Buddha, Taoism, Buddhism, Hinduism, if you're more inclined to not be religious, if you're more inclined to look at physical aspects, then you have confirmation bias. Those who are scientifically minded and those who are, all I can think of is Asperger's because it also starts with A. Oh God, I can't remember it. But those atheists, those who are, thank God, those who are atheists are going to have confirmation bias for atheism. Science likes to trumpet itself as the great atheist. Well, you're going to have confirmation bias for atheism. You're going to have confirmation bias for science. You're going to have confirmation bias for all things being physical, not spiritual, not non-physical, not unexplainable. And that's my point of this video. Confirmation, so science did get confirmation bias right, but they've been applying it wrong. They're saying everyone is confirmation biased, but we are not. The problem is that science is confirmation biased also. That is the point, and this is the truth. They got it right, but they're throwing rocks in a glass house, and they are destroying their own house. Those who do not want to, and you can see this confirmation bias right now in the line of those, and this has been going on forever, those who are physically ill that medical science will not admit to being physically ill. And they have made up terms to try to write off the physically ill. These people, a lot of these people are also atheists and also science-minded individuals themselves, and they are saying, I'm physically ill. Science, please heal me. Science, please cure me. And science not having an answer for them and not having a cure for them would rather write them off as hypochondriacs, mentally ill, psychotic, by the way. I just recently found out that supposedly, and I got this from a psychologist, a Black lady psychologist on YouTube. She says that psychosis is literally, essentially confirmation bias. It is being presented with information that completely proves your confirmation bias wrong, yet still being biased and still believing what you believe. And that's exactly what science is doing. They're saying you're not physically ill, therefore you must be mentally ill, when they're not even looking at the truth. They're not even looking at the truth that this person is physically ill, and you just cannot even diagnose them yet. You first have to diagnose in order to do research to cure. So confirmation bias is correct, it is real, but it's also being used against the spiritual community, being used against those who meditate, being used against those who say that Bigfoot is real. It is also, sadly and terribly, being used against those who are being treated badly in society because they are physically ill, because they are Black and being treated badly, because they are homeless and being treated badly. These people are treated badly in society, and because people have confirmation bias against them, those who are in authority, they're not going to open up and admit that, oh, gee, you are being treated bad because you're Black. You are being treated bad because you're a woman. You are physically ill, and you're being treated bad because you're physically ill, and because science we can't even label what's wrong with you yet. So, and obviously this plays into the spiritual thing, which I'm into now. There is confirmation bias against Christianity, against Muslims, against Allah, against, near-death experiences, against other timelines. There is confirmation bias against non-physical reality. There is confirmation bias against, just meditation. There's confirmation bias against everything in existence. So science has been throwing rocks while in a glass house. I hope that I would much rather have this video go viral and have everyone get angry about it and really start talking, because this is the truth. And I am merely the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. But there you go. This is the truth. And thankfully, I managed to keep this at 15 minutes. Please, you know, what do YouTubers say? YouTubers say like and subscribe. And please spread this video to your friends. Get people talking about it. The only way to disprove confirmation bias is to turn, and I have seen Democrats be turned into raging Republicans, but I have never once in my life seen a raging Republican get turned into a liberal, progressive, black person and tree person hugging, fight for women's rights Democrat. I have never seen that. So you can disprove confirmation bias, to me personally, if you can get Republicans to do a complete and total 180, 100% 180. But I do want to say, if you're proving confirmation bias incorrect, then you've just proven, in the end, science and its confirmation bias incorrect. And you've just inadvertently proven science wrong. Now, science gets a lot of things wrong, and this is at the 16-minute mark, and my voice is starting to get hoarse. I need to give myself a break here. But, you're in a catch. What is that? You're between a rock and a hard place. A catch 122 or 182. I forget. But, so you can prove confirmation bias wrong, at least for me, but you're not going to prove that wrong for everybody. And in proving it wrong, you're going to prove science incorrect. So I'm open to discussion. I'm open to debate, but I wouldn't be surprised if science tries to redefine confirmation bias, or try to redefine it after this video in some way to discount those who they have already been discounting. Discount, those who are into spiritualism, those who are into things that cannot be explained. Aliens, extraterrestrials, Bigfoot, anything at all, anything that science wants to say doesn't exist. So I'm sorry, this is at the 17-minute mark. I didn't mean for it to go this long. This is a little extra at the end here. I'm going to cut it off here, and I'm going to post this as fast as I can. Obviously, this is entirely unedited. This is raw video, raw sound, and I hope that you can hear me. And yeah, bye for now. I'm Witchy Geek. I like to make my geek extra geeky. That's G33K. I'm also known as Astrological Geek. I don't really have any videos under my Astrological Geek. By the way, that's also G33K. I'm on Instagram and Twitter. And obviously I'm on here, and I'm making these videos here. It felt more comfortable under the Witchy Geek title rather than the Astrological Geek title. And so there you go. Bye.